And if your plans to cool off include heading to the beach, we've got tips to keep you safe, even when there's no lifeguard on duty.
Well, this week on Weather Underground, we are getting you ready for your holiday weekend and looking at some beach hazards you may come up against. We want you to be prepared and safe. Now, a big hazard at the beach, rip currents. A majority of rip current drownings happen on beaches that are not patrolled by lifeguards. You're looking at some of those beaches, many of which, again, will have lifeguards, but some do not. So joining us now with important safety information, Wyatt Werneth with the American Lifeguard Association. Wyatt, let's start with, I walk up to a beach. There's no lifeguard there, but what should I be trying to observe, and how should I be trying to observe that risk of rip currents?
Well, that's a great question, but let's back up. The first thing you want to do is watch the Weather Channel, get educated about the area, call local authorities and find out where there might be lifeguards. And if you can't do that, then when you come to the beach, take a survey of the beach. Look around. Where are the crowds at? Where are people playing? Look at the water. Does it look unusual? And if that's the case, if it does look, stay away. Limit yourself to your boundaries. Don't go in the water if you don't feel comfortable.
So Wyatt, with so many surf zone and rip current fatalities happening on unguarded beaches, what would it take to expand the coverage of lifeguards? On the west coast of the U.S., it's so heavily guarded and they do so many rescues out there. What would it take in other parts of the Gulf Coast and Atlantic Coast?
Well, it comes down to politics and funding. I mean, that's what I dealt with in my career with lifeguarding, is trying to get things funded. We have in this area 210 beach accesses in Cocoa Beach, and we were only able to get 25 of those covered by lifeguards in the peak season. And normal season was only 6. So it's about the funding and the politics. There are a lot of advances going on now with, all the stuff that's happening post-pandemic to try and build more lifeguard areas. But, it's just based on the funding and the politics.
All right, I'm at an unguarded beach. I have found myself in a rip current. What's the most important thing I do? And what should people who are maybe on the beach watching me, what should they be doing?
Well, when you go to the beach with a group of people, assign someone as a water watcher. Even if there is a lifeguard, don't rely on the lifeguard to watch your family. Have that person pay total attention to the swimmer, especially if there's someone in your group that's a non-swimmer. And when you go to the beach and see other people, keep an eye on them. It's an important thing to always have some type of a flotation device. Something like what we have here on this beach, which is unguarded, has been installed so that if someone does get into trouble, there's a flotation device available.
A lot of the data that we have on how many rip current fatalities there are suggests maybe it averages about 60. But if you take what percentage of fatalities on unguarded places have rip current fatalities, we don't really even know sometimes what the cause is. But for the surf zone fatalities where you do have some rescues going on, do the lifeguards always document whether it was a rip current or not, so we can get a better handle on what's rip current and what's other causes?
Well, documentation is a tricky thing. If it's not documented, it didn't happen. Sometimes when you have a drowning or near drowning or fatality in an area that's not where there's lifeguards or during lifeguard hours, it'll get missed. We've had 5 drownings here, and they've all been outside of guarded areas. The most documentation they got was because of the search parties that involved the sheriff's department and the fire rescue looking for the person. And in one case, we have one. I don't even think we found them yet. So it has to get documented to be something that we can look at. But right here, right now, I can tell you we've had 5 that were 100% outside of guarded areas and after guarded hours. So it is something that's very difficult to track.
Wyatt, if I'm on the beach and someone in my family or a friend finds themselves in a rip current, what's the most important thing that I do?
Well, first of all, the person that's in the rip current, we always try to tell them not to panic. Just wait for help, stay relaxed. Someone on the beach will see you, and hopefully they have a flotation device. But the most important thing you can do before you get off the beach is call 911. Get those emergency units coming so that when you get into the water, they'll be there to help you. And again, never go into the water without a flotation device of some nature. A beach ball, a cooler, a raft, surfboards. Those are things you have to go into the water with to help that person so you don't become a victim.
Great information. Wyatt Werneth, thank you so much. Hopefully some good info that keeps everybody safe this holiday weekend. We appreciate it. Mark,
Thanks
over
for
to you.
having me.